Satellite images have confirmed extensive destruction at Russia's 51st GRAU arsenal, Militani reports. The images show significant damage following explosions that occurred on the 22nd of April near Barsovo village in Russia's Vladimir Oblast, approximately 530 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. The arsenals of the main missile and artillery directorate of Russia's Ministry of Defense, GRAU, are major Russian ammunition storage facilities strategically positioned throughout Russia to ensure rapid deployment and logistical support for military operations. While there was no confirmation of a Ukrainian attack on the facility, the destruction of such Russian ammunition depots benefits Ukraine by weakening Russian missile strikes and diminishing their artillery advantage. The synthetic aperture radar (SAR) satellite images shared by military observer Brady Afric on his X account reveal substantial destruction across the western and central sections of the strategic ammunition storage facility. However, this type of imagery cannot assess damage to specific buildings or pinpoint the epicenter or epicenters of explosions. Russia's Ministry of Defense claimed an explosion resulted from a fire allegedly caused by safety violations during operations at the facility. Militani noted that explosions were also reported in fields and on roadways in surrounding areas. Militani reports that recent reports suggested the explosions at the 51st Arsenal may have resulted from a drone attack during ammunition unloading from railway cars, contradicting the official safety violation explanation. Apparently, the Russians planned to use the destroyed shells at the 51st GRAU arsenal during the summer offensive. This opinion was expressed on air by military expert, Reserve Colonel of the Ukrainian Navy Vladislav Zeleznev on Ukrainian radio. The consequences of the secondary detonation indicate that the lion's share of this arsenal was destroyed. One of the key elements of the Russian army's supply was destroyed. It was precisely at the 51st GRAU arsenal that aid from satellite countries was concentrated. We are talking about rockets for 130mm launchers. The enemy obviously planned to use these shells during the summer offensive campaign. However, it did not work out, thanks to the effective work of the Ukrainian military or partisans and intelligence officers, he said. The expert added that the strike on this arsenal is a unique operation, since such facilities are usually extremely carefully guarded. He also commented on the attack on the final assembly shop of the Shaheeds in Alabuga. The flight through this infrastructure is extremely important for us. The enemy will need more time to restore the infrastructure in order to reach the declared volumes of drone production. Accordingly, it will be a little easier for us. Putin is trying to take control of those territories of Ukraine by force of arms that, in accordance with the new version of the Russian constitution, are included in the Russian Federation. The Russian army continues its offensive but pays an increasingly horrific price for every kilometer of Ukrainian land. As military expert Alexander Kovalenko calculated, in April 2025, the quality of the attackers sharply deteriorated and losses rose to record levels with minimal territorial successes. According to Kovalenko, in the third week of April, the Russian army advanced only 39 kilometers squared. This is one of the lowest rates since the beginning of 2024. At the same time, personnel losses amounted to 7,740 people, about 198 killed per. In the first week of April, Russians laid 366 bodies per kilometer. On the second, 259 bodies, and on average over 3 weeks, 192 bodies per 1 kilometer squared. The expert notes that the temporary reduction in losses is due to the Easter truce declared by the Russians and not to successes or a change in tactics. The proportion of losses remains high and continues to grow. Compared to 2024, Russian losses against the backdrop of captured territories are growing rapidly. In 2024, 129 killed per 1 kilometer squared. In January 2025, 148 bodies. In March, 304. In April, so far, 196, but the figure may rise again. As of today, since the beginning of the year, the Russian army has captured 780 kilometers squared, losing 153,310 people. The average proportion is 196 bodies per kilometer. This is worse than last year, and the dynamics are continuing. As Kovalenko emphasizes, the current trend indicates the continued degradation of the Russian infantry. The quality of reinforcements is falling. There are fewer and fewer experienced fighters, and new offensives are still being carried out using the old, ineffective tactics of meat waves. The seizure of Ukrainian territories is proceeding slowly, and the price is literally thousands of lives over tens of kilometers. If the situation does not change, April may even surpass January and March in the number of irreparable losses of Russians. Russian forces have suffered significant losses on the Pokrovsk axis and are being forced to retreat, but it means they just shifted the focus of their offensive. Military expert Mikhailo Zhirokov said in an interview with Radio NV, "This is a temporary retreat from the Russian forces," Zhirokov said. It indicates that they lack sufficient manpower and resources. They've simply shifted the focus of their offensive. He made a conclusion that the Russian troops are now concentrating on bypassing Chasiv Yar to take control of key roads leading to Kostiantynivka. They've been unable to take Chasiv Yar for nearly a year, maybe even longer. So now they're trying to flank the city. But to do that, they need forces, and at the moment, they have nowhere to get them from. To reinforce their troops in other directions, Zhirokov said, the Russians are gradually withdrawing units from the Pokrovsk area. They're trying to gather a more or less concentrated strike group, he added. In their case, that now includes motorcycles and some bizarre armored monsters. The goal is to strengthen their troops elsewhere,